Hi there everyone, Jack here again at the Vinyl Voyage. So over the last couple of weeks I've not put out any videos. It's been the longest that I've went since my channel started without putting out a video where I've been chatting about music. And as much as I've missed it, I've had a lot going on in my real life, my private life, that's kind of required my full attention, and I've not had the time or really the inclination to post a video. But I wanted to change that today because I have loved um, doing this channel over the last year, or coming up for a year. I'm about a month away, and yeah, it's been so much fun. So I wanted to put one out today. And before I start, I'd like to say a massive thank you to everybody who's subbed to my channel and helped it to grow over the last year, especially to all those who've watched and commented and interacted and kind of shared my love of music. So many people who've really encouraged me along the way and made it a really great experience. So a massive thank you for that. Now, I thought today I would do a video on unsung heroes. I've been watching some videos, even though I've not been posting. I watched a few of Vinyl Richie's where he did great videos on his greatest UK bands and greatest US bands. I watched some of Ben Rankin's videos doing that kind of thing as well, and I thought I would do a bit of a similar thing, but a different theme. So I'm going to talk about, instead of the greatest bands who I think are kind of unsung heroes, bands, artists who, for me, should have been a lot bigger. Some of them are big artists, but for me, they should have been a lot bigger. So without further ado, the first one I'm going to show is Ride, a shoegaze band from the 90s who have had a bit of a revival over the last, I don't know, 8, 9 years, something like that. But this is their second album, Going Blank Again, from 1992 on Creation Records. Now, I loved Ride when they first came out. For me, they were one of the most accessible shoegaze bands. I'm not a massive shoegaze fan, but I loved Ride. I loved those early EPs. I love Nowhere. It's probably my favourite Ride album. But I think with this one, Going Blank Again, it was a little bit more commercial. They veered a little bit more into kind of traditional rock territory, which they did further as their career progressed. But for me, this was their kind of commercial high point. Brilliant songs on here, like Leave Them All Behind, Twisterella, Mousetrap. Absolutely fantastic album. But I still don't think that they kind of reached the heights that they maybe could have or should have, especially after they released this, because when they released Carnival of Light, their kind of commercial popularity actually started to wane. But yeah, I think at this point they were just, they should have been bigger, I think. Andy Bell's guitars, just absolutely fantastic. I love Mark Gardner's vocals, so kind of ethereal. And the best thing with Ride, I just love the drumming. Laws, the drummer, he was like kind of indie Keith Moon. So yeah, Ride for me should have been a bigger band. I know they were quite a big band, but should have been bigger. Next up then we have World Party with their fourth album, Egyptology, from 1997, and this is on Chrysalis Records. Now, World Party, if you don't know them, they're pretty much the project of singer-songwriter Carol Wallinger. He pretty much was the band with a revolving cast of different musicians. On this, the fourth album, he pretty much plays everything apart from the drums, which are handled by Chris Sharrock, who's an absolutely fantastic drummer. He played in all the Icicle Works records. He played with the La's, latterly played with Oasis. So yeah, he's got an absolutely fantastic CV. But yeah, this is a really cool record. Kind of 60s inspired pop ballads. Loads of great stuff on here, but the big smash, really, not for World Party, but for Robbie Williams, was She's the One. Because Robbie Williams covered that song and yeah, kind of tried to pass it off as his own, I think. But yeah, I think World Party should have been a much bigger band, I think. Or a Carol Wallinger should have been like a kind of household name. I think he was quite bitter when Robbie Williams got all the acclaim for She's the One, and his version is far superior. I'll just show you that label for those that like to see the labels. But yeah, again, a reasonably big band, but I think Carol Wallinger should have been better known. So that's number two. Okay, this is a band I discovered this year. Bronco Bullfrog. This is from 1998, and this is their debut album. Absolute majestic power pop. I can't believe that I didn't know this album. I'd never even heard of Bronco Bullfrog when I got this reissue. This is an absolutely fantastic reissue done by the Spanish label Gerson. It's got a great bit about the band in here. Bronco Bullfrog were a three-piece. You see the dudes there. So these guys, you've got Lewis Wiggett on bass guitar and lead guitar, Andy Morton on drums, lead guitar. They all play everything. Michael Post, lead guitar, electric and acoustic, piano, organ, vocals. These three guys were like massively into 60s music. They were into a load of like psych and garage revival bands, and then they combined their forces in Leicester and put together Bronco Bullfrog. But I said this should have been miles bigger. This is just draws on all those amazing influences, the Raspberries, the Who, the Kinks. It's just brilliant. But yeah, I don't know how they weren't bigger, and I don't really understand how I'd never heard of them, because in 1998 I was just joining up with the RAF. So it was the start of my RAF career, and they must have just passed me by, because they must have got some acclaim, because the melodies are so fantastic. The guitars sound brilliant, amazing harmonising. I just don't know how they managed to pass me by. I must have been, I don't know, my head was in my basic training. I was probably running around a field somewhere carrying pine poles and trying to cook my tea over a little stove. So yeah, bizarre that these managed to pass me by, but they're absolutely brilliant. If you love Teenage Fan Club, love kind of power pop type stuff, then you'd love Bronco Bullfrog. Kind of a little bit more nostalgic, their sound, than Teenage Fan Club. But yeah, guitars just are amazing, the vocals are brilliant. Give them a listen, really good. They should have been miles bigger. They should have been a household name as well. Maybe, I don't know, maybe a little bit too retro. That's my only thinking, I suppose. Next one, we have Shack, HMS Fable. And this was a bit of a grail for me, because this is its first time on vinyl. I picked it up on, was it National Album Day, a couple of months ago. And I was so pleased to get a copy of this, because it's absolutely brilliant. This is Shack's, I think it's their third album. Yeah, it was Zilch, then Water Pistol. Then this came out in 1999, again, early in my RAF career, so I didn't listen to it so much at the time. I don't remember really when it came out, but Shack are an absolutely fantastic Liverpool band. Everyone talks about the Lads as being the great forgotten Liverpool band, but Shack are right up there, led by Michael Head, who was just a brilliant songwriter, had a lot of problems with addiction, with alcohol and heroin, and I think the heroin addiction was round about this time when he was putting out HMS Fable. But the songs are brilliant, massively influenced by Arthur Lee and Love. So lots and lots of layered acoustic guitars, beautiful melodies, brilliant lyrics, just absolutely fantastic. I love Shack. Their albums after this are just brilliant as well. This came on absolutely sexy blue vinyl. If you like the Stone Roses, the Smiths, the La's, all that kind of thing, this sounds nothing like any of those. But if you like that kind of thing, you would love Shack. Just brilliant songs. Natalie's Party's amazing. Comedy is just an absolute masterpiece. As good a song as came out of the 90s. Listen to Comedy and you'll be sold. Lend Us Some Dough is fantastic as well, but can't speak highly enough of them. You never hear anybody talking about them on the VC other than my brother, Gav Axeman Spins. Gav gets it. Keep it real, Gav. Yeah, just sell a kidney, remortgage your house, rob a bank, do whatever it takes. Just afford yourself a copy of Shack's HMS Fable, and you can thank me later. Next up then, we have the Silver Jews with Bright Flight, and this is their fourth album from, I think this was put out in 2001 on Drag City Records. Very different from the Shack album I just showed. This is really morose. It's really downbeat. It's kind of like indie Americana. If you don't know the Silver Jews, they were led by Dave Berman, who is a very unique lyricist. Absolutely fantastic lyrics. Very downbeat and morose lyrics. Quite ironic at times, but could be really funny as well. Kind of almost like an indie Lou Reed. So I I can probably understand why the Silver Jews didn't become bigger, but I think they should have been bigger, because Lou Reed was big and people got him, but I don't know. This is just a brilliant album. I love Bright Flight. There's the label. There's a fantastic cover on here of an old country song called Friday Night Fever. I love that line, Friday Night Fever. Sometimes a man just needs a breather. I think that's what I needed over the last couple of weeks, a bit of a breather. But yeah, Horse Legs Swastikas, Slow Education in the opening track is brilliant as well. If you're in the mood, you kind of like your music sometimes a bit downbeat, give Silver Jews a listen. Really, really good. Dave Berman, his last project was with a band that he put together called the Purple Mountains, and he tragically took his own life not long after that. But check that Purple Mountains album out as well. It's absolutely amazing. The lyrics are brilliant in it. Again, really bittersweet and really funny at times, kind of tragic at other times. But yeah, Silver Jews should have been much bigger. Okay, next up. Right, this is probably the biggest band that I'm going to show, but I think they should have been bigger still. This is Teenage Fanclub, Man Made, their 8th album, 2005. And Teenage Fanclub, again, just a massively consistent band, always right at the top of their game. I think maybe one of the problems, they never really changed their sound too much over the years. The last few albums, they brought in Euros Childs, the keyboard player from Gorky's Zygotic Monkey, or the singer from Gorky's Zygotic Monkey, and he's added keyboards and different flourishes. But essentially, they're just like a great classic rock power pop band, and yeah, this album's no different. This is not one of their best, I don't think. It's still really, really good. Bandwagon-esque and Grand Prix and the first album are probably the best for me, but yeah, just It's All in My Mind, the opening track is brilliant, feels amazing. Born Under a Good Sign. Teenage Fanclub should have been miles bigger, I think. You know, when they released Bandwagon-esque, it was probably at the peak of their commercial success. You had Kurt Cobain talking about how they were the best band in the world, and I think at that time, I don't think he was far wrong. Again, amazing harmonies, amazing guitars. You've got 3 guys in the band who could sing and write amazing songs. McGinley, Love, and Norman Blake. And while Jared Love's left now, I think that's taken a big dent away from what made Teenage Fanclub great. This is on their own Pima label. But yes, still should have been a much, much bigger band, I think. But hey ho, it is great Scottish band from Bells Hill. I've got a wee inner here as well. So this album was recorded in Chicago. The producer, Stereo Labs producer, it's got a little bit of a different sound, but still really just kind of retains that classic Teenage Fanclub kind of vibe, and obviously heavily indebted to Big Star, the Birds, Neil Young, that kind of thing. But there we go. Should have been bigger as well. Okay, another one. This band should have been miles bigger. Moby Grape from 1967. This is their debut. I fell in love with this album when I was a student in Edinburgh in the kind of early 90s. This is an Edsel reissue. The original was on Columbia. But Moby Grape, just like quintessential West Coast US kind of country psych rock band. Robert Plant was a massive fan of them, but yeah, they should have just been miles bigger. It's well documented how unlucky a band Moby Grape were. Everything that could go wrong for them did go wrong. They were badly managed by their kind of devious manager, Matthew Katz. They had a terrible kind of press launch affair, which was just kind of disastrous for them as well. They invited all these kind of music bigwigs, industry bigwigs, and rock critics and stuff, and I think that was like a bit of a disaster. But famously they released 7 singles off of this album all on the same day, and that ended up being like a kind of massive commercial failure as well. But like, they're just a brilliant band. They've got a 5-piece with 5 guys who can sing, 5 guys who can write, killer guitars, like lovely acoustic figure picking songs. And then the next minute, these kind of driving, screaming lead guitar moments. Yeah, they're just amazing. I love this reissue as well. I think this is what I initially heard. It's the first time I heard Moby Grape. I said I was a student in Edinburgh, and I'd went out for a night to the student union, and there was a guy DJing, playing lots of 60s garage and psych music, and there wasn't many people in, but went up and started chatting to him, and I was into the Beatles and the Stones and the Jam and the Kinks and the Small Faces and all the kind of big names. But because we had this kind of shared love of 60s music, he asked me to come over to his flat the next day. He said, I'll make you up a cassette. And I get into his room, and he just had the best record collection ever. We went through loads of records, and he was letting me listen to things that I hadn't heard, like the 13th Floor Elevators, Moby Grape, West Coast Pop Art Experimental Band, Strawberry Alarm Clock, The Seeds, all that kind of stuff. And on one side of the cassette, we made this like amazing mixtape of all these different new bands that he was letting me hear in. And then I loved Moby Grape so much that on the other side of the cassette, he recorded me the debut album. So this has a special place in my heart. I love Moby Grape. I always talk about them. And yeah, so many great songs. 805, Come in the Morning, Omaha. The whole album is a smash. They should have been miles bigger. They should have been up there with bands like Buffalo Springfield and the Birds, Jefferson Aeroplane, but they're kind of relegated to the kind of second division, I think. Next up then, band out of Chicago, a three-piece called Dead. This is their, let's say their, I'm going to just make it up. I think it's like their fourth or fifth album. Can't quite remember. It's called Blue Skies. It's got really cool artwork. So they're like a kind of indie three-piece band. We're very, very indebted to Jesus and Mary Chain. They've got a real Jesus and Mary Chain sound about them, without maybe as so much screeching feedback. They're maybe a little bit more melodic, but it's very similar drum beats, vocal stylings. The thing I like about Dead, it's almost like you get two bands, because their bass player, they've got a female bass player called Emily Kempfer, I think she's called, and she does the vocals on half of the songs. She's got a very idiosyncratic singing style. Really, really cool. So she kind of sings a lot of the kind of heavier, kind of louder, more bombastic songs. And then the guitar player, I can't remember what his name is, he's got like a kind of softer, kind of indie style kind of vocal, a bit more, and it sounds more like Bobby Gillespie from Primal Scream, or the Reed Brothers when they're singing with Jesus and Mary Chain. So he's got that more kind of 80s indie styles. It's almost like you get two bands in one. Yeah, they're really, really cool. I need to hear more of their stuff, because this is the only one of their albums that I've heard. This one was from 2022 on Fat Possum Records, and I think this was kind of seen as maybe being their breakthrough album. They've got this song on here, is it Big Love, which was got a bit of airplay, but I think, you know, again, they're a band who have not reached the commercial heights that they probably deserve. Songs are really catchy, they deliver them really well, and it's just strange that they've not kind of got bigger. But yeah, that is Dead, D-E-H-D, with Blue Skies. So next, an album from this year, an artist though that's been around for a long time. This is Waxahachie, aka Katie Crutchfield. That's Katie there, looking very Americana. And our early albums are kind of experimental indie noise pop, which has kind of shifted over the last 4 albums to, you know, more of a kind of traditional Americana sound, like indie Americana. But this is our album from this year called Tiger's Blood. It's absolutely brilliant. It's got kind of influences of maybe Bruce Springsteen, a little bit R.E.M. in there. Title track, Tiger's Blood's really good. But yeah, again, she is a pretty big name. Like Waxahachie is quite a big star now, but not to the same level as someone like Lana Del Rey or someone like that. And I think, you know, she's a songwriter who I still think deserves to be more of a household name. But yeah, this is an excellent album. I've really enjoyed listening to this year. Lots of nice banjo on there, acoustic guitars, lovely melodies. The drummer's Spencer Tweedy, Jeff Tweedy's son. Yeah, really cool album, and definitely worth a listen. So I think Waxahachie should definitely be bigger or more of a household name. The last one I'm not going to talk about for too long because I've shown it in so many videos. But it is Bright Phoebus by the Waterstones, kind of a cult band, certainly a cult album within UK folk circles, but outside of those circles, I suppose Lal and Mike Watterson are pretty much unknown. If you're into UK folk, I'm sure you would know this album. But you know, someone like the Fairport Convention I've got like kind of worldwide acclaim, and they're very well known kind of 60s and 70s act, whereas no one really knows this outside of that kind of cult following that it has. But I think that's maybe down to the Wattersons being more of a traditional folk act. Their earlier albums are not really like this. This is more of a band sound, where you had the likes of Richard Thompson, Martin McCarthy coming in and playing acoustic guitars. I think Ashley Hutchins plays, yeah, he plays bass guitar on here as well. So a lot of the Fairports came and played in this album. But yeah, it's just such a fantastic album. I said I wasn't going to talk about it much, but it's really hard not to because it's so good. It's like, people have described it as like the Sergeant Pepper of folk. Unfortunately, it's really hard to get a hold of. There's one reissue that was put out in 2017, and then it was pulled for legal reasons. And even that reissue, which was briefly released, is very hard to get a hold of. This is an original on Trailer Records. But yeah, great songs on here. Magical Man, Rubber Band is a great song. My favourite, the one that's probably the most well known, is Fine Horseman, sung by Lal Watterson. It's such a kind of creepy, what would you say, a very creepy folk sound, almost like it could be used in the Wicker Man soundtrack. But yeah, it's really cool, old English folk. Probably the vocal stylings, I think, which maybe sound a bit old-fashioned in places. That's maybe why it's not led to kind of wider appeal. But yeah, if you like UK kind of psyche folk, give this a go. Lal and Mike Watterson, Bright Phoebus, absolutely amazing. So there we go. So that's me. I've got my comeback video out the way. It's good to get back into it. Like I said, they're all albums from bands that I think should have been a bit bigger. Some of them certainly should have been miles bigger, should have had more commercial success, but for one thing and another, they haven't. So what's next then for the channel? I've got a world exclusive that I'm going to have my very first performance, my first performance piece as the Vinyl Voyage. I think it'll be called the Vinyl Voyage, and I'm going to put that out in a couple of weeks' time. So it's going to take quite a lot of courage because I've never done anything like that before. I've been working on it over the last little while. A song, a personal song that I'm going to put out under my channel name, and that'll be like my Christmas present to all of you. So watch out for that, and hopefully I'm going to get another video done by the end of this week. So yeah, great to do this video. I've really enjoyed it, and thank you for watching. Oh, and as always, if you'd like to comment on any of the albums or bands that I showed, please do, because that's what makes it worthwhile for me. I love to kind of interact with anyone who comments on the video and chat about these albums further, or listen to your recommendations. I've had some fantastic recommendations over the year from other people in the VC, or people who have watched my videos and told me about other albums to listen to, and I'm always looking for new things to listen to. So please comment and subscribe if you wish to as well, and it helps to keep the channel moving upwards. So until the next time, thanks for watching, and see you later. Bye for now.